For many centuries, it was the practice of the Church on each of the Fridays preceding Easter to honor at Mass some aspect of the Passion of Christ. And so, for instance, there were devotional feasts in honor of the nails, in honor of the crown of thorns, the lance, the winding cloth. And today, we have one of the last vestiges of this practice found in our collect, our opening prayer, in which we asked for the grace to imitate the Blessed Virgin Mary in contemplating the Passion of the Lord. Today is traditionally the day when we honor Our Lady sorrowing at the foot of the cross. And as we are on the cusp of Holy Week, there is no better model for us to take to heart than the Blessed Virgin Mary. And so we join with the Church in asking to see the Passion through her eyes as we go through the coming feasts, especially of the Triduum, Holy Thursday, Good Friday, Holy Saturday, to allow Our Lady to accompany us in all of these moments and to ask her, Mother, help us to see with your eyes and to love with your love. The way Our Lady loved in the Passion was so important. Her love was compassionate. She was willing to suffer with her Son, to enter into his pain, to be a source of strength for him, even though there was nothing that she could do to turn aside what was happening. She remained. She abided in his word. How many times from the cross our Lord must have looked down and seen his mother there. We know from the Stations of the Cross they met as he was carrying the cross, and how humanly he must have gained strength from the compassionate gaze of his mother, reminding him of his mission to make all things new by taking up this suffering, knowing that he would not suffer alone, but that Mary was with him every step of the way. We too are invited to be with our Lord every step of the way, so that no suffering of his would go unnoticed, that we would be there, loving Jesus in every bitter moment of his passion. Our Lady's love was constant. She didn't waver. Her faith did not budge. Most of the apostles, they ran into the darkness on Holy Thursday night. At the foot of the cross, there was Our Lady, St. John, and St. Mary Magdalene. And for all of us, we know ourselves. We know how frail our human nature is. And left to ourselves, all of us will scatter. And so we want the intercession of Mary to give strength to us, that in the midst of our own sufferings that God has providentially allowed us to share as a participation in his cross, that we would not run, especially when things get so tough, and we know that they do from time to time, and that we have many sufferings that perhaps no one else can understand, but our Lord sees our heart, and Mary offers us her immaculate heart as well, to console us and to strengthen us as she did for her Son. Lastly, Mary's love is close. So she was right there the whole way. She wasn't standing off at afar, like St. Peter did when he followed Jesus to the high priest's house, but at a distance. And throughout this coming Holy Week, we want to live it like Mary did, in the sense that we want to be as close as possible to Jesus. We don't want to follow him from afar, but to be very close. And think in your own meditation how scary that must have been for Our Lady, to be there in the midst of the violence, the suffering, the heavy feeling of despair that must have been crowding down upon everyone as all of their hopes and expectations were being shattered. And yet her faith in the resurrection remained, and that faith would be rewarded. The same pattern can be realized in our life as well. Our faith too has its reward. And so as we enter into the mysteries of our Lord's passion, death, and resurrection, we ask to do so with the love of Mary, a love that is compassionate, close, and constant.